Harbor seals can tell which Orca dialect will kill them and which one won't. They've memorized the language of death. When they hear fish-eating resident orcas, they ignore them. When they hear mammal-hunting transients, they panic and flee. The seals know something we're only just figuring out. Killer whales don't speak one language. They speak dozens. And some of them have evolved to go completely silent. Here's the thing about orcas. Some hunt in total silence while others never shut up. Why? What are they actually saying when they do talk? And can we decode a language that's been evolving for 300,000 years? Because scientists just made breakthroughs that change everything. AI that predicts orca behavior with 96% accuracy, grammar rules in their calls, and an orca that learned human speech on her first try. Let's start with the silence. Transient killer whales, the marine mammal hunters, don't whisper during hunts. They use something called acoustic crypsis, total radio silence. A 2005 study measured their vocalizations across every hunting behavior. Median call rate? 0. Not quiet. Literally 0 sounds. The reason is brutal. Their prey evolved to hear them coming. That 2002 nature study proved harbor seals distinguish between resident and transient dialects. They learned which accent means danger, so transients adapted by shutting up entirely. When they absolutely need echolocation in murky water, they don't use the long click trains fish-eating orcas blast constantly. They fire isolated single clicks, brief acoustic snapshots. The numbers tell the story. Transients produce about 12 echolocation clicks per hour. Residents produce 300 clicks per second. And residents never stop talking. If you're into wild ocean discoveries like this, you know what to do. Subscribe. They've built entire languages. Each killer whale pod maintains 7 to 17 unique call types. These vocalizations are so distinctive that researchers identify which specific pod they're hearing within seconds. But the numbers get wild fast. Iceland's orcas use 91 distinct call types. Norwegian orcas use 23 call types. Here's the twist. Norwegian and Icelandic orcas share exactly 0 calls, not 1. Despite living in relatively nearby waters, they might as well be speaking completely different languages. And these languages never drift. Stereotyped calls recorded in British Columbia in 1979 still appear identically in 2017 recordings. The exact same vocalizations passed down through 4 decades like inherited surnames. How do they maintain this stability? Vertical cultural transmission. Baby orcas spend their first 2 years learning the pod's dialect exclusively from their mothers. And mothers adapt their teaching style. They use what researchers call orca baby talk. So we've got silent assassins versus chatty culture keepers. The question is, can we understand what the chatty ones are saying? That's where AI enters the picture. June 2025. Scientists published results from training a ResNet 34 neural network on killer whale vocalizations from Antarctica's Ross Sea. The AI achieved 96.1% accuracy predicting orca behavior purely from sound. It could distinguish traveling from foraging from socializing from resting just by listening. Which means orcas aren't making ambient noise, they're broadcasting their intentions. Every behavior has an acoustic signature. Another system called Orca Spot uses deep learning to detect orca calls among ocean background noise with 93.2% precision. It was trained on 11,509 killer whale signals extracted from the Orchive database, 19,000 hours of recordings maintained by Orca Lab in British Columbia. Orca Spot doesn't just detect calls, it categorizes them by type with 93.5% accuracy. But the real breakthrough came in December 2023. Scientists discovered orcas use grammar. A team analyzed 8,045 calls from tagged Icelandic killer whales. They found 3 distinct call combination clusters with predictable, rule-based patterns. About 50% of all call transitions followed structured rules. Certain call types could only start sequences. Others could only end sequences. Some appeared exclusively in the middle. This isn't random vocalization, it's syntax. The calls follow grammatical-like rules about what can be said when, which raises an uncomfortable question. If orcas follow grammar rules, what are the sentences actually saying? We don't know yet. But the emotions are starting to come through. In summer 2018, Tahlequah, Orca J35, carried her dead newborn for 17 days. over 1,000 miles of ocean, the longest documented mourning vigil in killer whales. Researchers recorded her vocalizations throughout. Jenny Atkinson from the Whale Museum described how they evolved. The calls started very urgent, then the emotions kind of softened as days passed. Other females participated. They formed a tight circle around Tahlequah for approximately 2 hours. Pod members brought her salmon to eat during her vigil. They took turns supporting the calf's body so Tahlequah could rest. This wasn't just individual grief. The entire pod was communicating emotional states through coordinated behavior and sound. The context makes it darker. Southern resident killer whales experience a 69.8% pregnancy failure rate. These orcas face reproductive loss constantly. For them, grief vocalizations aren't rare, they're regular vocabulary. Tahlequah carried another deceased calf in 2024. She may have surpassed her own 17-day record, but the most shocking discovery is this. Populations living in the same waters for 300,000 years speak zero shared words. Transient orcas and resident orcas in the Pacific Northwest swim past each other constantly. They've coexisted for 300,000 years, longer than modern humans have existed. They share zero calls, not a single vocalization. They're as genetically different as orca populations on opposite sides of the planet. Yet they hunt in the same waters, surface in the same bays, and encounter each other regularly. They refuse to mix. Dr. Barbara Taylor from NOAA captured it perfectly. They're the most different killer whales in the world, and they live right next to each other and see each other all the time. They just do not mix. It's not inability, it's choice. They've maintained separate cultures, separate hunting strategies, and separate languages for longer than Homo sapiens has walked the earth. When transients do vocalize, which is rare, their whistles have lower dominant frequencies, narrower frequency ranges, and shorter durations than resident whistles. Even their acoustic properties diverged. Losing a single orca population doesn't just mean losing animals. It means losing a language that evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. A communication system that will never exist again. But here's where it gets completely insane. 2018, Marineland Aquarium, France. Researchers designed an experiment to test vocal learning limits in killer whales. They worked with Wiki, a 14-year-old female. Training method, do as I do. Wiki had to copy novel sounds on command, sounds she'd never heard before. The test included 11 novel sounds, 5 from other orcas, 6 from humans. Wiki copied all of them. Hello? 1, 2, 3. Amy. She matched some sounds on her first attempt. No practice runs, no gradual approximation. First try. This should be anatomically impossible. Orcas produce sound through phonic lips in their nasal passages, modulating it through fatty tissue called the melon. Humans use vocal cords vibrating in a larynx with tongue and lip articulation. Completely different sound production systems. Wiki figured it out anyway. She matched the tones, the harmonics, the rhythm. She's not alone. Luna, an isolated juvenile orca in Canada, learned to imitate California sea lion barks perfectly. Orcas cross-socialized with bottlenose dolphins adopted dolphin whistles and chirps. One orca learned an artificial chirp sequence taught exclusively to dolphins in a neighboring tank. They're vocal shapeshifters with extraordinary motivation for social conformity. Scientists believe this drive explains dialect stability. Learning your pod's accent isn't just communication, it's identity, it's proof of belonging. Get the sounds wrong and you're culturally outcast, but we still can't decode what they're actually saying. Until now, 2025. The Earth Species Project partnered with Raincoast Conservation Foundation, $17 million in funding. Their goal, decode orca communication using AI trained on synchronized audiovisual data. The method combines aerial drones filming orca surface behavior with underwater hydrophones recording vocalizations. Every call linked to specific visible actions and identified individuals. Then AI finds patterns humans can't see. Scientists predict major semantic breakthroughs within 5 to 10 years. We already have clues. Norwegian and Icelandic orcas use specific low-frequency pulsed calls during carousel feeding, the coordinated technique where pods herd Atlantic herring into dense balls before stunning them with tail slaps. One call type occurs within seconds of tail slaps 78.3% of the time. That's not coincidence. That's a command or announcement. Antarctic Type B1 orcas, the ones that create synchronized waves to knock seals off ice floes, use vocalizations and bubble streams to time their attacks with millisecond precision. Only about 100 killer whales globally know this technique, and they teach it through deliberate instruction. Mothers catch and release prey multiple times so calves can practice. They position themselves between calves and danger. They demonstrate techniques in what researchers describe as apparent slow motion, and they simplify their calls into teaching language, orca baby talk, when instructing the next generation. So here's the answer to the whisper theory. Orcas don't whisper. Some populations evolved complete acoustic silence because their prey learned to recognize and fear their voices. Other populations never stop talking because they've spent 300,000 years constructing languages so sophisticated that AI needs 96% accuracy just to predict behavior from sound. They're not hiding, they're speaking, in dialects that remain stable across generations, in calls that follow grammatical rules, in vocalizations that communicate grief, coordinate complex hunts, and transmit culture to calves. We're not listening to whispers, we're listening to languages, plural, that we're only beginning to understand. And when AI finally translates that first complete orca sentence, we won't just learn what they're saying, we'll discover they've been trying to talk to us this whole time. The ocean keeps secrets in sound. We're learning to listen. Subscribe for more mysteries hiding in the deep. Stay tuned. The dolphin code theory is coming up soon on the channel.